How can we split columns in Power BI Desktop? Because in here, in our gender column, we have redundant information or unnecessary information. Actually, I would like to get rid of the population and of this minus. So the goal would be to split this gender column into two columns, where one column contains the population, including the minus, and the second column contains only male and female. We can then delete the population column, and with that, we only get our gender column left. To do this, we need to use the split column feature, and you can find this feature either in the transform ribbon up here, and here split column in this text column part, or alternatively in the home ribbon. Here you also have the split column feature. That's exactly the same functionality as seen for some features already here in Power BI Desktop. We have different places where the same features are available. Let's stick to this option now, and let's of course select our gender column, and here we can now click onto split column. And there you see we got lots of different options. The most intuitive option would be that we split our column by a specific delimiter. In our case, the delimiter would be the dash right here. This will be the approach we'll follow in the end. I just want to show you some of the other ones to make sure you understand what can be done right here. Let's get started with by number of characters maybe. Let's select this option, and here you can now select after how many characters a column should be split. Very important, you can see it also right here. This split feature is only available for text columns, right? So you cannot split by the number of characters if your column is formatted as a number, for example. This would not be possible. In our case, the amount of characters would be population, including the dash. So this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 characters. So we can just enter 11 right here. And now we have to specify how our split should be performed. So we have three options basically. The default one is repeatedly. This means we would repeat this feature. So if our column would contain, let's say, 33 characters, we would have, well, 2 splits. This is definitely not what we want. And then we have once as far left as possible or as far right as possible. This simply means if you would have 33 characters, as far left as possible would split after the first 11 characters, as far right as possible, in case of 33 characters in total, would make the split after 22 characters. If you would have 44 characters, the split would be at 33, and so on. In our case, we should select once as far left as possible, and in the advanced option, we can now define whether we want to split our data into columns or rows. Well, I guess columns is what we want right here, therefore we should stick to the default selection, and now press OK. And the result is actually already what we want. We now have the gender 1 column with the population and minus, so after 11 characters the split was made, and we have our second column with female and male. So this is actually fine already. We could do it like this, but as I said, I want to show you some more options. Therefore, let's undo this step and let's go back to split column once again. Because we also have this positions option. Let's see what this is. Here things are a bit more advanced, you could say, so you can customize a lot more things than with the initial split by characters. The default option would be 0 and 10. And what does this mean? Well, 0, so this first one, would define the cutoff point for the first split. This means if this is 0, you would basically start at 0. This means before the first character. The 10 then defines the first point where the split should occur. So 0 to 10 would mean we start ahead of the P. Then after 10 characters, so after the N, we would do the split. In the advanced options, we again have the columns and rows option, so I will stick to columns once again. If we do so, we have the first column with 10 characters, so we started at 0 ahead of the P, including 10 characters, and then we made the split. So if we would use 11 instead of 10 here, we would have the same result that we had before with the characters. But split by positions is a bit more powerful, as I said. So let's use it again after undoing this step. And let's now say I want to start after 2 characters right here. And then we could define the first cutoff point, which could be in our case the 10 once again. We could also change this to 11, just as we want. Let's maybe use 11. And very important, this 11, of course, means after 11 characters. It does not start after these 2 excluded characters. So what we say right here is, please create 2 columns. The first column should start after the second character and end with the 11th character. So the second one is this one, the 11th is still our dash right here. The second column would then again be the gender. So let's press OK to see how this works. And we got a correct split for the gender column, but for our population, we now cut off the P and the O. As we said, we only want to get started after the second character. Let's undo this one more time, go back to split column, and use the by positions option one last time, because what you could also do is here, you could also add a third cutoff point or also more. So you could say you want to get started maybe after the second character, then after 11 characters, and then you want to make another cut after maybe 13 characters. You could also add more. If you would do this, you would create 3 columns here. We got the population without the PO column, we got our second column and the third column. So this is another option how to apply this feature. Not really helpful for our project here. I just wanted to make sure that you know this feature because it can be quite helpful depending on what you want to achieve. Let's again undo this as I just did it and go to split column one last time. And I won't dive into the last 4 options, to be honest, because I guess these are kind of self-explanatory. Here we would split the column whenever we go from a lowercase character to an uppercase character. Same thing for the second option, just the other way around. And here we would split the column if we change from a digit, so from a number to a non-number value, and here the other way around. So as I said, I won't dive too deep into these ones, as these are more special cases, as I would say. Instead of that, let's finally finish the split column part by using the by delimiter feature up here. Here you can now specify a delimiter, either a default one like commas, equal sign, semicolons, and so on, or a custom one. In our case, the dash is already selected right here automatically. Here we get the same options we basically saw with the split by character. We can say we want to split the data at each occurrence or in the leftmost or in the rightmost part. In our case, it wouldn't make a difference. I'll just stick to leftmost though, and I will now press OK. And as you can imagine, with this option now, we finally derived at the result we want. After a few seconds again, right here. One important difference to the split by characters maybe. Right here, we don't have the dash anymore. By the split by characters, we had the dash included. Here, the delimiter is not included in one of the 2 different columns. Therefore, this would be the preferred approach in my opinion here. However, let's get rid of the first column here, this population information. This is not required, so we can right-click and remove the column. And let's now rename this gender2 column to gender only. Again, we can see we have the green indicator bars here. In case this is not working for you, just quickly switch back to another query and then back to the population combined query to fix this problem. And this now was the final step for the first core part of this query editor module. In the next lecture, we'll have a look at the structure of our project and see what we can improve to make it easier to work with the project. And then we will do a really big step, because then it will be time to finally implement a data schema here in our project. Looking forward to this. Time for some restructuring though first in the next lecture.